Hey guys, so this video is either for Ryan Anderson, even though he probably won't watch it, or even if he does, he's probably not going to agree, or for anyone who's confused as to why he likely is still kind of clinging on to the gypsy idea and not actually seeing things for what they are and then responding the way that he should be. I've obviously never been in the same situation that he's in exactly, but to an extent, I think I can really understand from personal experience where he's coming from. Um, Really, the crux is he believes that there was love. And until he can come to a place of recognizing that there was never genuine love, he's going to still keep clinging on to a lot of things based on that version of his reality. I think it'd be easier for him to make difficult choices that wouldn't look good on Gypsy, that wouldn't be easy for Gypsy, if he said, you know what, actually, she never loved me, and therefore I never actually loved her because I loved a version of her that wasn't real. And that's a very difficult thing to have to come to embrace. And I know from personal experience, people in my situation, and I believe in Ryan's situation, we meet someone and then without even realizing it, create a character in our mind of who that individual is, and then spend the next however long telling ourselves that that is for sure accurate, and then anything within that person's character that matches up with the character representation we've created, it's like, well, see, this is the person that I always knew they were. Anything that doesn't match up, we excuse away. We don't allow those things that don't align with the character that we have in our mind to make us say, hold up, this may not be the person I thought they were. This might be someone who's actually trying to manipulate me or control me, or this person might have no idea who they themselves are. And the reality that they're telling me and telling themselves isn't real because they don't even understand themselves. When we don't enter into that more kind of holistic, mature way of viewing people, people in Ryan's situation will just barrel forward with the, I loved her, she loved me. I knew her better than anyone, she knows me better than anyone. The thought of maybe I never knew her at all is terrifying. It's a terrifying, difficult thing when you've committed years of your life to someone that you realize, I don't know who they are. Maybe no one actually knows who this person really is. Maybe they have no idea. Maybe I actually got the closest to seeing the most real version of this person, which is actually a really scary version, and no one else in the world has any idea. That's a very, 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 like, it makes you feel like the smallest person on earth. And a lot of what Ryan is doing, I believe, is self protection against that potential reality, that kind of earth shattering realization of things. It's also embarrassing. And I mean, that sounds kind of like snarky, but I mean it genuinely. It's actually embarrassing in a way to say to yourself, you know what? I actually did a really bad job picking someone. I let them convince me of who they were. I let myself convince myself of who they were. And I was completely wrong for years, living with blinders, completely wrong. That's extremely embarrassing. And Ryan himself has said that he can be a pretty prideful person. So again, I think he's going through a lot of self-protection of not opening himself up to being humbled, having to go through some intense learning, having to really kind of, he's probably already kind of jaded about certain things in life because of, I would assume, his weight is an indication of being jaded. And I'm not trying to be mean. I mean that genuinely. I think someone who got up to his level of weight was probably really hurt and angered by something and decided, you know what, food can be a consistent comfort. And so this is going to, if he ever reaches a point of actually processing this healthfully, it's going to be another level of, yeah, the world really is messed up and people really can be mean and evil in ways that I wanted to believe it wasn't even possible. And I wanted to believe that I could avoid it if I did these things. I want to take back. It doesn't inherently make you jaded. It can make you wise. But if people don't handle that knowledge well, it can make them even more jaded in life. So I think it's just a lot that Ryan is trying not to face. And I hope that he is willing to start asking actual, like, what if? What if I was never, I mean, like, I imagine, I haven't watched the show, but I imagine he says these things of, like, I've seen clips, like, did I mean anything? I'm just, based on his actions now, I'm not convinced that he's actually had the real true what if conversations. which would then, if he was able to have those real conversations with himself and really learn and study what was going on and what was actually likely happening this whole time, then if Gypsy did reach out to him and if Gypsy did say sweet things and say she missed him and say she loved him and all of those wonderful things that, I mean, they're not really wonderful, but to him it seems wonderful. If he was able to get a true understanding of the reality that he'd been living in for several years, then if she did those things, he could say, no, no, you didn't love me. You don't love me. We never actually really understood each other the way we thought we did. It is possible to have sweet, fun, movie-esque moments with someone who couldn't actually care less about you. And so any of our positive times were not actually signs of a healthy relationship. It was just signs of how incredibly nuanced people can be and how people can make you very, very convinced that they really, really love you when they absolutely don't care. He could respond to her in that way and make choices that actually helped himself grow and heal rather than perpetuating her narrative and perpetuating this gray zone where I think a lot of people believe that he would take her back in a heartbeat if she offered. But yeah, it's scary and it's a lot. So he may or may not ever do that, but I hope he does for himself. And I hope, I'm sorry this is so rambling, but I hope maybe it gives a little insight into likely why he's not taking the stance everyone else is of, oh, Gypsy's just a player. You're better off without him. Well, without her. Anyway.